Hey guys, this is Rough Stuff podcast number 11. I'm Garrett. I got Zach and Morgan here. Hey guys.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
And our guest today is Justin Hall. What's up, Justin?
What's going on, guys? How you doing?
Pretty good, man.
Pretty
Pretty
good.
good.
So today I guess what I have here in my notes is just to kick it off and kind of get your background. And one of the questions I have here is I want to know how you got started in Ultra 4 and racing in general.
So I got started, it kind of goes back to when I got started into wheeling. I was like 15, 16. Me and my dad did a father-son project. We went halves on a 1988 and a half Suzuki Samurai. And then we wheeled that through the Rubicon a couple of times, and we went and did our first rock crawling event. Then we ended up, it was like a run what you brung, like put up or shut up style event. And it was funny. I was the only rig on like 32s at the time, running against all these like trail rigs on like 40s. And I think there's like a total of 60 something cars out there, right? And everyone laughed at us. We ended up finishing like 7th out of like 4 cars.
Well,
and then it just kind of snowballed from there. Did We Rock, Cal Rocks. After doing pretty well in We Rock, some of my sponsors were pushing me towards the racing scene, and I just ended up building the car for it. And next thing I know, here I am talking with you guys.
Right on, man. How did you get started with us? Like I don't remember that story.
I don't really remember it either. It just kind of happened. I think it was almost 10 years ago, something like that.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a really long time ago. I think I called you guys for getting a couple Heim joints for steering on my first comp buggy. And then I ended up meeting Dan someplace, and we just kind of started hitting it off. He goes, well, if you need anything, just give me a call. And so I called him, and it's all been kind of history from there.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
that's
kinda-
like a Dan deal.
I feel like that's how like a lot of like the OG like sponsored racers got like started with Dan, you know, just coming by saying what's up, or Dan seeing someone at an event and giving him something like, remember Jimmy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he gave him I think he gave him like a cover or gave him some product because like his rig blew up or something broke, and that was that.
Yeah, which is here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was honestly something like that. It was some like handshake deal from, like you said, like 10 years ago or something like that.
Right on.
Oh, yeah, good hangout and a handshake.
Yeah, right? Those are always the best kind of deals, it seems.
It is.
Yeah.
It totally is. It's not too common anymore, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, definitely. Like the intent behind it is always good. I feel like with that kind of a deal, it's just like, hey, let's work together and
And hope it all worked out. And
Yeah.
it was simpler times back then.
yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Definitely simpler
Now
times.
it's like a business.
Yeah.
A little bit less obligation back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
What about what kind of products? I mean, you run a lot of our stuff, don't you? Like you run our Heims. I think you have a couple like axles, right?
Got our housings in there. Yeah.
I run pretty much everything I can get from you guys. I have all your limit straps on my new race car, both front and rear axle housings. Every single one of your Heim joints are on my car. Shoot, and I think a bunch of just miscellaneous tabs and brackets that were just quicker and easier to get them from you guys than me to sit there and try to build them all. But yeah, I've always had your guys' Heim joints on every one of my cars. That was more or less the main starter for me, was getting all the rod ends from you guys.
How many rigs have you had so far?
Shoot, competition wise, I had a Samurai buggy at one point, single seat moon buggy, had a 2-seat rear steer rock crawler. Then built my race car, my first one, and then now I'm on my second one. So about a total of five cars I've had.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, that moon buggy thing was sweet. I remember that back in the day.
yeah, that was a good car. I think the thing ended up in Georgia.
Oh, really? No
they-
shit.
It was an older couple. Like they're like 50s, so not really that old, but they ended up buying it, and they competed it in the East Coast out there, and I think they still own it too.
That's cool, man. That's super cool. Yeah, that was a neat car.
Yeah.
What was when you started getting into like racing? Do you remember your first like actual race?
The first actual Ultra 4 race I ever did was actually King of the Hammers. Like that's with me driving.
Talk about getting your feet wet.
Yeah, right. My first, I kind of got my feet wet co-driving for a few people, and that kind of gave me the bug to actually go racing. And then it's like, hey, I need to build the car for this. And that's when I started hitting up my sponsors at that time. And yeah, it was King of the Hammers. I think it was 2014. Yeah, I think it was 2014 was my first King of the Hammers, and I didn't make it but like 16 miles before I broke the car.
That's how a lot of first KOH races go. I'm actually pretty surprised to hear 16 miles. Sometimes I hear 3.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I made it 16 miles. I finished the car on the lake bed, and it was all the experience at once.
Now, what took you out in the 16 miles?
I actually ended up breaking a grade 8 5/8 bolt on my rear upper link at the chassis side. And at that time, I didn't know about shouldering bolts because in rock crawling, we don't see nearly the loads that we do in racing. And it was kind of an expensive lesson to learn. But I broke the upper link bolt at doing about 60 through a set of whoops, and the rear end started walking around on me, and I almost looped the car. Really short amount of distance and got it slowed down. And by the time we got it stopped, both rear coilovers and rear bypasses were bent in U shapes from sitting there smacking the frame.
Oh man, that's a painful one to come up on.
How were when you first raced the Hammers? Like, how were your nerves? Like, did you just have like a crazy adrenaline spike, or I'm curious how that goes for like. I mean, I guess you also had like a lot of rock crawling competition, but I mean, was it the same kind of anxiety going into it?
It was completely different because I've never really driven fast before, and like I said, I've co-drove for people and when they've like at Ultra 4 style races, but it's different when you put the helmet on and you're in the driver's seat. Like it just full race mode, like instantly, no matter what. As soon as you put that helmet on, you clip your seatbelts on, you're literally your first thought is I want to go fast.
Heart starts firing up.
I want to go fast.
Feel the blood start pumping through you.
Do you lose sleep the night before or the night after?
So the first 2 King of the Hammers, I definitely did not sleep much at all. But now that I've had quite a few under my belt and I know what it takes, it's getting easier to sleep. It's still tough too. I don't sleep as much in it, but I at least get some sleep now. Like I'm good with like 2-3 hours of sleep is good for me before King of the Hammers.
Power nap. Yep.
Fast sleeper.
Yeah.
What do you eat before like you jump into the cockpit? I mean, what's like the last meal, before you get in there and go racing? I know it's a weird question, but like I always think about that every time when I see the cars lined up at KOH. It's like, what do all these guys eat before they go do 12 hours of racing?
For me, it's a little different because I think most of you guys know that I have Crohn's disease, so that's an intestinal disease, and what I eat definitely affects my stomach. So before the race, I'll normally eat like something incredibly basic and bland that will not mess my stomach up. And during the race, I'll probably just snack on a granola bar or something. But for the most part, I don't eat the day that morning or really that evening. I just kind of just stay to things really bland, and I'm more of hydrate than anything.
Yeah.
Well, is that pretty common with other people too, you think, or is everyone just different?
I think I haven't really talked to that many people about it. I'm sure they probably have something similar where they just have a certain meal that they know isn't going to destroy their stomachs. Not like they're going to go eat something super spicy or go grab Taco Bell or something,
Yeah.
The last thing you want is sitting on the starting line getting bubble guts.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first crash during one of those races, or?
My first crash actually was at one of the NorCal Rock races. I just came in a corner, still learning how to drive fast. Came in a corner too hot and ended up grabbing an edge and looped the car. I think it rolled like 2 or 3 times, landed back on the wheels, and kind of was like, "Whoa, what the hell was that?" And my dad at the time was spotting for me in the stands. He goes, "You okay?" I'm like, "I think so." So we ended up continuing racing because for some reason the car didn't really take that much damage. Just caught an edge and rolled a couple of times, and that was an eye opener. And I still make mistakes and come into corners too hot or not hot enough and catch an edge and just loop and just get the car up on its side. It happens. It happens to the best of us.
Oh, it's actually
sure.
it's pretty easy to watch that happen at any one of the races at Wild West or something like that, like Nationals. Saw a bunch of cars roll last year, and it was just like those guys are the best, and it just shit happens.
Playing to win,
Yeah.
going fast.
It literally just takes like a split instant, and it's if you don't steer correctly, like understeer or oversteer it just right, it catches that edge, and next thing you know, you're going for a little ride.
As a spectator, I just hate like sneeze because it does happen that fast. I hate like sneezing or something. You take your eyes off the race, and then the whole crowd is screaming about something, and you missed it because it does happen that quickly.
So you've done a lot of short course racing. You've done a lot of big like endurance style races like King of the Hammers. We're just going for hours and hours. What do you prefer? Do you prefer like a quicker race, or are you down for just sit in the seat for 12 hours, just get after it?
See, I personally I hate desert racing, and I hate like endurance style racing. I'm not a fan of it. I like the idea of short course racing. That seems to be where I feel like I do my best at, and
Gotcha.
I love the sliding into a corner like 2 or 3 wide with 2 other guys, and just I love the door-to-door battling like that. And you get that at Hammers, but not as much as you do in short course. Short course, I feel they both have their strength and like disadvantages. Like short course beats the crap out of your car extremely fast
Yeah.
because you're jamming at, like, let's say Prairie City, you're jamming through rock piles. You're hitting them at 25, 30 mile an hour and just not caring about your car. You know, where at Hammers, you can kind of have more time to be technical and pick your line through it. But short course, I feel it takes a little bit more driving skill in a sense to slide into a corner next to somebody and not roll over, you know?
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, very different, man, but I see what you mean.
From a spectator point, it seems like short course is better than like King of the Hammers.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you are the ones in the stands? What do you think?
It gets to happen. You get to see almost everything happening all the time, and seeing, like you said, door to door, multiple people next to each other in the same corner. It's a lot more action going on versus watching, like the Jumbotron at KOH, and they're going from one car to another, and this guy's hung up in the rock garden, and that guy's on back door, and it's just not as exciting.
Yeah, I think King of the Hammers is fun to go down to experience like the week of and be able to meet people and see the rigs and wheel and build relationships. But from being on the trail during the race day and then also being on the road, and I find it more fun actually to watch it on the live stream that they do. Mm-hmm. It's just like you get all coverage, you get to see like what's going on, you get all updates. There's like just more information flowing versus just hanging out at like Chocolate Thunder for 3 hours and watching people come by.
Yeah, waiting for 2 hours for 3 cars to come
Yeah,
through.
exactly. Yeah, there's some cool stuff for sure. But yeah, I think watching it online is legit.
Yeah,
they've done a good job with that.
What was that?
They've done a pretty good job with producing that and getting that online for people.
Getting all the coverage.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
proper coverage.
Yeah, it seems like it's grown tremendously in that sense of their media coverage is just so on point now.
How do you prep differently for short course versus long course? Or I mean, fuel wise probably, but
about the only difference that I'd really make to my car is short course. I'm stripping things off of it to make it the lightest I can. And when you get to like King of the Hammers, I'm adding spare parts, spare fluids, high lift jack, impact guns, stuff like that. But when it comes to hard prep on everything, it's kind of all the same. I tend to, before King of the Hammers, like the months leading up, so like October, November, December, January, the car gets completely torn down. Like I tear the car completely apart. Shocks come off of it. Those go up to Phil in Liberty Mountain Fab. Josh West at CBM, he normally looks at all my motors for me. Take the transmission, drop that off in Jackson at Nixon Transmission. I pull everything out of the car. I inspect the disc, inspect all the axle shafts, and then it goes all back together with all new hardware. Every nut and bolt is brand new every year. and that way
Hell
you
yeah.
never have to worry about things failing or for fatigue, and pretty much at that point, once it's already put back together, after hammers, you can give it a good once over. If nothing gave you an issue during the race, you kind of just sit there and I have my actual list. I have like 2 or 3 pages list of the things that I check off before every race. Like, hey, I visually inspected these areas because this is where the car is known to have a couple cracks in it. And you just kind of, after you build a car and you've wheeled it enough times, you start seeing the common areas that are reoccurring issues. So you just kind of, I like to highlight on those, and then always give the car a good once over before and every race.
Totally. How long have you been in this specific car that you're currently racing?
It'll be 3 years old in February of next year.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The first year was a learning experience with the new car and figuring its quirks out, and like I said, where things tend to crack at and what wears out faster on it than something else. So.
Yeah, but at least last year at Nationals I was watching, that thing was dialed. The thing is fast as hell.
Yeah.
The car it's gotten a lot faster over the last couple of years, and the biggest thing was putting I got a big motor in it now, and it's technically small in cubic inch compared to others, but it's rowdy. It's a little 383 stroker based off of a LM7 5.3 liter, and Josh, like I said, Josh West at CBM, he specifically spec'd this motor out to run on pump gas and built it for my car, because my car is so light. I don't think I can put any more power to it because I can't get traction with it at this point.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could think of worse problems to have.
Yeah, especially when it comes to race cars.
The ratio is incredible with my car. It's ridiculous.
Has the quarantine affected like your race season or your build at all?
It hasn't really affected the build in that sense. That if anything, it gave, I think, everybody more time to prep their cars and get them more dialed in and just more time to test. But race season wise, yeah, I kind of screwed my season in a sense. I'm trying to think. Let's see. There's 2 or 3 races that were planned within the month of all this quarantine stuff happening, and then it all just got canceled, and everything is trying to trying to think, what the hell? That's a tough question to ask, Eric.
Yeah, sorry. But yeah, I mean, what
yeah, I don't really know.
What races were canceled? I mean, we had.
Well, Stampede was shut down.
Oh, that's right. Stampede was like the first one, huh? That was like
that was like one of my favorite ones to go set up a booth at, and they can't do that. So.
Yeah, it was Stampede. I think there was 2 NorCal Rock races that were supposed to happen, and then LS Fest in Vegas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and all those canceled because those are what I planned on doing. And
for sure.
have you guys been to LS Fest yet?
No, we haven't.
Yeah.
I haven't.
I have not. We were invited last year, but
I
don't think we were able to get anything together for it. That'd be a cool one to go to. I know you want to go, Morgan.
I would love to go.
Yeah, if you guys,
We'll send you out there.
All right, sounds good. Let's do it.
yeah, if you guys get the chance to go, suggest going. It's an awesome event. You see literally everything. So yeah, back to the whole quarantine affecting race schedule. For me, I don't know if I'm going to race much at all this year, just because it seems like all the event promoters are going to try to stuff everything into 3-4 months worth of racing when it should be spanned across 9-10 months. And financially, I don't think I could swing that, because I normally work for a living. We all do, and
what do you do for a living?
I work for the city of San Jose. I work in public works. I'm a construction inspector. Okay. So scheduling time off and then just budgeting myself is a pain in the ass.
Yeah. What about, do you have any outlook on the 2021 race season? Has anyone said anything? Do they even, I guess no one really knows what's going on at all anyways, but I'm curious what you know as far as what the racing promoters are telling you.
Honestly, I think the only person that's been big into trying to keep their schedule, even for 2020, is Goodby at NorCal Rock Racing. He's bound and determined to get a race to happen out here on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Ultra 4 is doing things all on the East Coast right now because I guess they're a little more opened up than what we are over here. But 2021, I'm nervous that King of the Hammers is going to get canceled. With what everything's happening out here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I hope to God it doesn't, because that's literally like our Super Bowl, and it would be horrible if that event didn't happen next year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, like what? I think you, Zach, my dad got sick, and then there's a bunch of other people just got totally sick there, huh?
Yeah. No, I was sick before.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, and then Sean couldn't make it because he was sick.
He was sick.
Yeah.
I already got COVID. I'm good. I'm good to go. I don't know, man.
It seems like everyone's had it,
Yeah.
I don't know. I could even if it
Seems
is like
we've all got
officially.
sick.
Yeah. Even if it is officially canceled, I could honestly see a lot of people just showing up anyway.
Yep.
And just kind of doing, run what you brung, KOH.
There you go. Just like the old Huckfest.
Yep.
Didn't they do that? I think they did that like a month or two ago. Ultra 4 held like a secret race out there, and it was like an invite only, and it was kind of, they ran the OG 13 race, like the very first King of the Hammers. They ran the OG course, and I think there was about like 20, 30 guys that got invited to go out there and race that. So that was kind of cool to see pictures and hear about it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's way rad.
Yeah, I think, like you said, with everybody having more time to prep their cars and make all these improvements and have a ton of time to make these changes, I think if the 2021 season, let's say it goes according to plan, I think a lot of people are going to be a ton more competitive. I think you'll see a lot of different teams come out of the woodwork because they have some more time to prep their stuff. Just some of like the lower budget teams, when they have more time to kind of do this and put their paychecks together, you might see some fireworks happen. It'll be kind of cool to watch.
Yeah, I know there's quite a few new 4400 class cars being built. I just finished building a 4500 class car for a customer of mine for some side work that I do, and that there'll be some new cars coming out that should be pretty fast.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Sure. What's the? I know you just built or you're building a new car. What's the differences like between the two? Are you jumping up class or?
So I've been rat holing parts for like 2 years to build an IFS car, and I kind of put that project on hold for a little bit, just because I don't know what's happening all with the quarantine and the race schedule. So I'll probably get back to working on it in like 2021, but the goal is to jump up the 4400 class.
Oh yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Pull my car apart, steal a bunch of parts out of it, and try to build it on a budget wise and still be competitive.
So what's the plan there besides the IFS? Like, what's going to be the main differences you think, and what do you want to improve? At least what do you want to divulge right now? I don't know if there's some secrets.
Well, I'm not one of those people there's some people that are builders where they hold all their secrets in. I'll tell you everything. I don't care. But I want to do IFS front end. I'm going to build my own bulkhead and do all my own geometry setup, and going to do, like, my car now has an offset motor in it. It's a front engine offset all the way to the passenger side. I'm going to do that again for the new car. I'll end up probably I would probably call you guys, get your trailing arm set up, because of like how your guys' arms are built, and try to just keep it really light. That's the main goal.
Just light and
because it
fast.
seems everyone's building cars. Yeah, everyone's building cars that are 5,000-6,000 pounds, and that doesn't win races.
Yeah, there's been some
Being
tanks
light.
around lately. Some big boys.
Yeah.
More weight, you're gonna break stuff. So keep it light.
Yeah, more weight requires more power to run it, and then more power is harder on parts, and just all of it.
So have you raced King of the Hammers since 2014, and you've raced every year, or have you missed any?
I haven't missed a year since 2014. I've raced every year. The first 2 years, I DNF'd. The third year, I ended up 7th in 4,500 class. The next year, I DNF'd because I had I forget what the issue was. Then the last 2 years in my new car, this past King of Hammers, I finished fourth, and the year before that, I was third.
Nice.
So,
Oh yeah, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and but my car now is a little different than everybody else's in the 4500 class, and it's a single seat car. No one in 4500 class has ever built a single seat car, and for short course racing, it's amazing because I have such a low center of gravity. I was able to move the motor, like I said, offset the motor to the passenger side, and my car sits easily 10 to 12 inches lower than every other car out there. But at King of the Hammers, it sucks because now I'm navigating for myself, and I'm also having to winch myself if I get stuck.
Didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Out of all these places, whether that be KOH or Wild West Motorsports Park or Prairie City, like what's your favorite place to race, and then what's your favorite place to just go on a weekend wheeling trip in your Toyota?
Yeah. For me, I like any short course race, but my favorite venue it has to be Wild West.
That's
just because there's literally nothing better than when you're going around on a parade lap and you look into the stands and it's literally packed full, no walking or like no standing room or any of that. And over all the motors that are running, you can still hear people cheering. That's probably the coolest feeling ever.
That's pretty awesome.
That is awesome.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah.
So I know
it's very American. It's amazing.
So I know your pop does a lot of racing with you and whatnot. Is your race team pretty family oriented, or is it just a bunch of group of buddies, or what's your race team look like?
So my race team, it's pretty incredible how my race team has kind of come about. So my dad's always been a big part of things with me, and I think last year, for the past 2 years, he couldn't make it out to Hammers, but I've had somehow in my years of racing, I've made friends with enough people where they take, I think it's around 30 people that come out and do pit support at Hammers.
Wow.
And I have 7 people that come from Australia. They fly all the way out from Australia to come spend the week out and hang out and help out. And I don't know where the hell these people came from and how they just are willing to take a week of their time out to come help me, but it's incredible. And I've made literally lifelong friends through racing, and it's great.
I think I ended up running into some of the Aussies at our pit last year, and were telling me about that they flew over just to pit for you. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So, can you explain the differences between the two classes, like the other class you're racing and then the 44?
So the 4500 class, they call it the Everman Challenge, and you're limited to 37-inch DOT tires, axle-mounted shocks, no bigger than 2.5-inch diameter, and you can have 2 per corner, so you can have a coilover and a bypass on all 4 corners. You have to have a mechanical style steering, a box frame, and it has to look somewhat like a production vehicle. And then 4400 class, it's literally you dream it and you think you can build it and go run it. It's an unlimited everything. It does not matter. And you get guys with $700,000 like full independent suspension cars pulling 26 inches of wheel travel out of it, and then you got guys with like $50,000 cars that are straight axles with trailing arms, and you literally have everything you can imagine is in the 4400 class.
Yeah, I think what is it? The Hell's Bells car has like 54s on it or something, right?
Something huge, yeah.
See that every year.
Yeah, they're like, he's on like 2.5 or 5 ton Rockwells with like 54s and front and rear steering on it. I think he was saying he has like a 1200 horse motor in it too.
Wow.
Yeah. Needed to turn those.
What about what's your? I guess I don't know if I already asked this, but what inspired you to race King of the Hammers, or what's your favorite thing about King of the Hammers?
So, for me, King of the Hammers, it just kind of came out of the fact that I co-drove for people and I was crew chiefing for everybody in it, and I could see the writing on the wall that was going to be like the premier race to race every year. If you race 1 year out of, or one race every year, it's got to be King of the Hammers, and that's what kind of drew me to King of the Hammers, you know. And like my favorite thing about it for me, it's that 1 week out of the year that I get to hang out with my 7 buddies from Australia, these people from on the East Coast that come out and support me, and it's a cool like get together for everybody. And there's nothing better than when you're able to cross the finish line and you get up on that podium and you see all your buddies down at the bottom like yelling and screaming for you, and it's like, you know, you couldn't do it without all their help, and that's like probably the coolest feeling ever.
That's pretty cool, man. That's a pretty special feeling.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the beauty of the off-road community, especially like the kind of just ultra four racing, but especially hammers. It's like such a team effort, you know. Everybody has to come together to make it work, which is pretty badass.
Even competing teams, you know, that they, as much as you guys are competing on the racetrack, they want you to be on the racetrack. So if they need to, you know, share a pitman arm or a bolt or a Heim or tubing or whatever it takes to get your car to the start line, they're going to help you do it, and then they're going to try and beat you.
Yeah.
But,
That is pretty.
No one wants, as a racer, no one wants to beat somebody because their car's broke. We want to beat them on their best day.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about your Toyota a little bit, because you know, we talk about the racing a little bit, but don't you take some wheeling trips? Don't you have a little pickup or a crawler that you take on trips to the con or Fordyce and whatnot?
Yeah. I picked up a '89 extra cab with a LC Engineering built 22 RE. It's got the typical Toyota goodies: a dual case, 4.7s in the rear case, ARBs front and back. That's it, sitting on 37s, bead locks. I drive the thing pretty much everywhere I can. Like, when I go to Rubicon, I'll throw it on the trailer because it's just easier to throw it on a flatbed trailer. But the thing will cruise 70, 75 down the highway. It's great. Do a bunch of local camping trips in it, and it's a fun little rig. Like, it's literally your typical basic Toyota on leaf springs, but for some reason they just flat work.
Yep, tried and true. Now, where's your favorite place to take that?
So I was supposed to be on the Rubicon this past weekend, and I've been going to the Rubicon since I was 15, and I love it up there. It's not a difficult place to go, but it's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And I was supposed to be up there this weekend, or this past weekend, and we get up to the staging area and we get probably 250 feet past Beer Tree there, right at the slabs, and all of a sudden everything's shut off, had nothing. Battery light comes on, and I'm like, oh crap. So we popped the hood and ended up killing an alternator. No one had an alternator, so we like charged the battery enough to drive it back to the truck and trailer, and then loaded it up, and me and the girlfriend just ended up spending the weekend at her mom's cabin in Tahoe.
Right on. Yeah, I didn't read the post, but I saw you did a post about an alternator, so I'm guessing that's what that was about.
Yeah, I ended up, the alternator took a crap on it, and I was doing some research, and like super random bit of information, but a 1994 Jaguar XJ6 runs a 120 amp alternator with the exact same mounting holes and mounting style as what a Toyota pickup does, and they're internally regulated like the 88 and above Toyotas are, and all you got to do is pull the serpentine pulley off the Jaguar alternator, take your Toyota V-belt, open it up to just under 17 millimeter, and slap it on there and bolt it in, and you're good to go.
That's awesome.
There you go.
Yeah, I took when I had my Toyota, I took it up to I think it was Boyles or something like that. Boyles, whatever alternator company up in Auburn, and he rewound it for me, and it was like I forget, it was like 140 amp or 160 amp alternator, I think, something like that.
It's pretty crazy. It's like, why didn't Toyota just do that from the get-go? You know, they're running like a 60 amp alternator, but you can rewind like you're saying, like 120, 140 amps. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to your Toyota? Do you still got that thing or no?
No, I sold it. I don't know what year I sold that thing, but
It's been a while now, man.
Sold it about a year after I started, and I've been here 5 years now. So 4 years ago.
I still miss it every once in a while, and then I remember that I barely took it out. So
Yeah.
I would
Well,
only
you need
go.
a family rig.
I know, yeah. I only took it out like once a year, and then yeah, now I have a daughter, so we'll probably, yeah. I think we're gonna try and we want to have another kid, but we need a house
Nice.
before that. What's that?
Yeah. I said nice. That's rad.
Yeah. So, but we only have a 2 bedroom house right now, so we'll need a third bedroom. So we'll have to go get another place to live. So that's
Kinda like
priority.
when you
Yeah.
built the Toyota and then you had to go buy the big dually, and before
Yeah.
you know it, you're just keep
That's-
buying more and more stuff.
That's another like reason why I sold the Toyota is because I built the Toyota. I wanted it to be street legal. I failed that mission, so then I bought a I had to buy a tow rig, which it's like okay, I have to buy a diesel, and then I had to maintain that truck, and that was my daily driver too. And it just was like, and like I said, I drove the Toyota like once a year, maybe twice a year, and yeah, so I sold the diesel and. Yeah, have a pickup truck again, but
Domino effect, man.
yeah, it's a vicious circle.
Don't you hate it when life? Yeah. Don't you hate it when life gets in the way of all your fun stuff you want to do?
Yeah,
Yeah, that happens more and more. I feel like as you get older.
yeah.
Looking forward to it.
I'll probably later on I'll do like probably just a Jeep or something simple, so that we do a 4-door.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
Yeah,
Yeah. The Ford J case, when they're built right, they do pretty damn well.
yeah,
Quite impressive what they do.
yeah. We had the we actually kind of not overbuilt. We had some pretty sick drivetrain on ours. We had a 2007 Rough Stuff did, and we had our Ford 9s front and rear on it, and we put all the stock style bracketry back on it, so we could just run the like our link arms that we manufacture. Put those back on there. I think we did the single flex one, so it had a bushing on one side and a Heim on the other, and 37s, and that thing was awesome. It was like so easy to drive through Rubicon.
Mhm.
Yeah, it did pretty good on the freeway.
Yeah, and the only
Except for the automatic transmission was
I say,
not a fan of everything we put underneath it.
yeah.
Like
so
said,
you guys
wait.
got right close right next to you guys, huh?
Say that again. It was cutting out for a sec.
I said you guys have Fordyce right next to you, right?
Oh
You
yeah,
guys just right down the road from you.
it's like a 45-minute drive, right, or something.
I don't know. It's like literally not even that, 25 minutes from my front door to Cisco Grove. It's right up the hill, man.
Yeah.
You can go all the way there on dirt roads from my house, actually.
Do you have?
So lucky.
But I live about
so
an hour
lucky.
from the shop, though.
Yeah. You're already like an hour away.
Yeah.
I think it's only like up 80. It's like 45 minutes from
Yeah,
here. It's like Cisco
it's
Grove, but
fast.
yeah. Is it? Do you have any like good race stories or any like really memorable moments racing or even just wheeling?
Most of all my stuff, it's hard to just pick out one or two that's my favorite because everything has been just amazing as far as the stories you can tell. They're all campfire stories, like you end up having 20, 30 great stories and 100 other small ones. But if I had to pick one, I'd probably say it was my first, third year racing King of the Hammers, and it was in my old 2-seat car I had, and my dad he was my co-driver, was riding shotgun with me, and we'd be cruising through the desert. And you know how you end up with race catheters, so it's more or less just like, I don't know, most people know what they are, but they're like condoms that you put on that have a little tube on them, and if you don't put them on just right, and if you bend your leg too much, you pinch the hose,
Yeah.
So we're cruising through the desert, and me and my dad are both like petrified on using them because we've heard horror stories about them, right? So like he's on the radio talking to me and through the intercom, and he's like, "Man, I'm gonna try it. I gotta go." I'm like, "Dude, don't let it blow off." He ended up pissing himself. And after just having like probably no more than like 10, 15 minutes later, so I did the same thing. Mine did the same thing. So we both like pissed ourselves in the seat of the race car. And it happened to be the one year we finished King of the Hammers, and we had to get out of the car, and it was all kinds of bad.
That's funny.
It was super embarrassing, but everybody's done it.
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say. I'm sure that's so
It-
common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool because that was the first year of finishing Hammers, and my dad was riding shotgun with me, so that whole year was pretty memorable in that sense. Like, he was super ecstatic. You know, we both shed tears as we were coming down the last hill, coming towards the checkered flag. It was cool. It was
That's
a cool
pretty
moment.
badass, man. That's cool.
Now he's out in Nevada, isn't he?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Antioch, and they just moved out to like Smith Valley area. I think it was like 2.5, 3 years ago out there. Yeah, he retired, and they just wanted to get out, and they got like 20 acres out there. House
Nice.
butts up to BLM land, so they got a nice little spread.
There you go. Yeah, I think his name's Mark, right? I think I've talked to him a couple times.
Yeah, I think I know I've sent him your guys' way to. He's building a little 2-seat rock crawler buggy, and I sent him your guys' way to get quite a few different things for that. So I know he's talked to you at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you daily drive your Toyota pickup, or what's your daily?
So I can daily drive it. I try not to, just because 37s get expensive.
Yeah.
Wearing those out. So I have a 2012 Chevy 1500 that is my daily driver at the moment, and it's because I bought that truck just recently, and I still have my diesel tow rig, and I'm kind of contemplating selling my diesel and then trading the Chevy in on, like, let's say a newer diesel, and consolidating all into one truck.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I have one truck that can kind of do everything.
Yep.
And that's a tough thing to do, because my Ford that I have, it's the old 7.3. I've had that truck since it had 92,000 miles on it. It's got 326,000 on it now.
Dang.
Wow.
That's what I had. That was my tow rig too. Was a 7.3. It's a 2001 crew cab long bed dually.
With a 6-speed.
Yeah.
Manual, yeah,
remember that
manual transmission, manual transfer case, manual locking hubs. It was like,
See,
A great
that's nice.
daily
Yeah, mine.
driver.
Yeah, that's the most ideal daily driver ever, right there.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
the dually fits in all the drive-thrus, for sure.
Yeah. I used to
Yeah,
watch
my
Garrett.
7.3.
Oh, I used to watch
Go
Garrett
ahead.
pull a trailer through the Taco Bell drive-through with that dually.
Oh,
Didn't want to get
yeah.
out and walk in.
That's impressive. I don't think I've tried to shove a truck and trailer through a drive-through yet.
we went somewhere a long time ago, and when I had that thing, and Mallory was the sober one, so she knew how to she knows how to drive a stick, but it's been like a long time. And we all decided to go through the Carl's Jr. drive-through, and with the dually long bed, it's you have to be aware of your surroundings, you know. And it was like I picked like the easiest drive-through. I'm like, let's go to the Carl's Jr. because that's like a pretty straight drive-through there. And she it was like just a little bit of a curve, like a couple feet each way, and she just went straight through and just curb on one side, curb on the other. Like we just, I was like, oh my god, I thought I lost my fenders, you know, and God, that scared me. That was the last time she drove, so.
Yeah, the 6-speed in the 7.3s is the way to go. My truck's on its third transmission already.
So I was talking to you know Tyson there, but one of our kind of like original customers had a 7.3 as well, and he took it to a transmission guy and just got it I think tuned essentially, and I think he got like whatever, like it locks up or doesn't lock up the torque converter, so he tuned it to where it would tow properly, I guess, and that was the last time he ever had to do any transmission work to it.
Really?
Yeah, I'd have to ask him again specifically what he did, but he spent like a couple $100 on transmission tuning, and that was that.
Huh.
Yeah.
Damn, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
I got a stage 2 transmission in my truck. It's got full billet torque converter, all like it's like a $5,000 transmission. It sucks.
Dang.
It sucks. But I was like, I only want to do it once, and technically I've done it twice now. But this is the first time I did a full built transmission. The first one was just a stock replacement.
Yeah.
And that just never lasted. So I put this built transmission in it, and knock on wood, it's been pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it, but
Nice.
I wish I keep telling myself if I lose another transmission, I'm going to do a 6-speed swap in it.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I tell that to a lot of my customers, with various things. If they're considering dumping a bunch of money into a Dana 30 or a 44 versus to build a 44 these days is actually not that much more to build a 60 anymore,
Yeah, that's
unlike years past. And buy once, cry once. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Exactly, it's true. 100% buy once, cry once, and that goes towards like if you're racing, if you want to get into racing, it's the same thing. You rather spend all the money once and do it right instead of have to do it a few times to get to the right place.
Yeah. For sure. Do you have any sponsors you want to talk about, or I know you mentioned some earlier about your build, but and then or any shout outs you want to say?
Yeah, I've always got tons of shout outs to give. Not a bad thing. First one, I want to thank Rough Stuff. You guys have, like I said, probably been my longest standing partnership, and I think for me it's been amazing. You guys have always been super helpful. The fact that you guys were out at every NorCal race with welding support, you guys, it's amazing what you guys do. And you go to Hammer, spend a week out there, and help hundreds and thousands of people out there, and it's incredible what you guys do. Want to give a big shout out to Yokohama Tire. They came on board beginning of this year. Honestly, probably one of the better tires I ran, not just because I'm sponsored by them, but the fact that they held up through hammers and I didn't have a single flat. That's pretty impressive for those tires.
That's a big deal.
Yeah. Josh West, he was originally with 208 Motorsports, but he's down at CBM Motors in SoCal now. Yeah, he built my motor for me. He does all my remote tuning. He tunes just about everybody's cars nowadays, it seems like. But huge shout out to him. Phil Accardi at Liberty Mountain Fab. He does all shock tuning for my car. He's literally, between Josh and him, they're the reason my car works as good as it does.
Hell yeah.
You can build a car, but if it doesn't run right and if it doesn't get through the desert right, it's not a decent car.
Isn't Phil's nickname like Shock Jesus?
Yep. Actually, he was in the office this morning.
Was he?
Yep.
Yeah.
Shit,
So
we should
what's
have him
funny,
on the podcast.
that term, Shock Jesus, I actually, not bragging about it, but I was the first person to coin that term for him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was around Christmas time, and I still have the photos saved on my phone. Someone posted a picture of what they quote unquote thought Jesus looked like, and it was some drawn thing, and it looked identical to Phil. I'm like, holy shit! This is Phil. Phil is Jesus. He is Shock Jesus.
That's funny.
Now everybody calls him that, and that's like the single most greatest nickname I've ever come up with that has stuck for somebody.
That's awesome.
And Phil, he's literally the most humblest guy out there. He's not. He never once says he's the best at what he does. Just his work speaks for it. He's an incredibly great person to work with in that sense. Shoot, I think who else? Battleborn Wheels, Aaron Orlick. I don't know if you guys have done much with him, but his new wheels he has are pretty damn stout. I think I've only flat spotted one of them, and that was because I drove on it on a flat at a short course race for 4 laps. So anytime the wheel can take that kind of abuse, that's pretty impressive. Dirt Alliance, most people in the rock scene don't know about them. They're more of pre-runner and trophy truck guys, but they're
familiar.
What was that?
I'm pretty familiar with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dirt Alliance, they've been with me for a year or two now, and I know they just recently got bought by somebody else, and he's taking a completely different direction, so I'm pretty excited to see what direction he's going to go with Dirt Alliance. And then Ethos Vision, they're a sunglass company. They're fairly new startup. They're American-owned, huge veteran support for those guys, and pretty rad sunglasses. I have a discount code through them. Off the top of my head, I think it was RockHard13. So if anyone wants some sunglasses, they're 15% off, I think, with that.
Nice.
So
yeah.
I might be able to set you guys up with something a little better, though. I probably have something in my house I can send you guys.
Right on, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then the Speed Company. They're a pretty new clothing company, and they hit me up just a couple weeks ago and wanted me to help be a brand ambassador for them. So I kind of a cool little new venture with that too.
Sick.
That's very cool, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah, and then a shameless plug for myself. I'm kind of starting a side business called 13 Fabrication. So I've got to give a shout out to myself on that one.
Right on, man.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
You got a website yet, or is it just starting up?
Just an Instagram page right now. It's just at like 13 Fabrication, and just kind of it's all just a side hustle more or less right now. The ultimate dream goal is I've always had this dream since I was probably 16, was to own my own fab shop and build cars for people. Like, I love building and like anything metal fabrication I love doing. But right now in the Bay Area, it just doesn't pay the bills, so got to have the adult job.
What's going to be the like major focus? Are you just going to kind of do anything fab wise, or focus on vehicles, or?
Right now at this point, I'm not really turning away anything, because a little bit of side cash is always good to have. And but the main goal is to focus on off-road related cars.
Yeah. As
far as rock crawlers and Ultra 4 style cars.
So what's the name was 13?
Yeah, 13 Fabrication. So it's like 13 Fab.
What's the where did you come up with that name?
So 13. The number 13 has been like my family's lucky number ever since I was a kid, and I've always raced with some form of 13. And when I started in rock crawling competitions, they never had, like, the number 13 was already taken, so I ended up running 713. And then when I got into the Ultra 4 scene, I dropped the 7 and just kept 13 with it, and I've always have been number 13 literally in everything since I was little, so it just made sense to keep it going forward.
Right on. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I know you've talked about this in the past, but like a lot of other things that you started racing also to just promote awareness to Crohn's, right?
Yeah. I started when I was 2008 is when I was diagnosed and almost died in the hospital, and I had 7 inches of my intestine removed, had an extremely complicated surgery, and a whole lot of other complications throughout the healing process. And at that time, I leaned over to my dad. I said, "Listen, like, if I get better, I want to go like rock crawling competitively on a professional level, but I want to do it for something, you know." And I said, I want to, like, anyone can just like go rock crawling professionally for like whatever reason they want to, but I want to do it to bring awareness for Crohn's disease. And at that time, I had it was like a foundation, but it was through the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America, but it was called Crawling for Crohn's. And I was raising money for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation for research and everything like that. And I donate money every year to them. And you see, like, my race car now, it's not branded Crawling for Crohn's, but you'll see a purple ribbon on it, and then on the back I have like a purple handkerchief that's tied up that flies in the back of it, and it's all still bringing awareness for Crohn's.
Oh yeah.
Right on, man. That's cool.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
That disease has been more vocal a lot lately, over in the past like 5 years. That when I was first diagnosed with it, really no one knew about it, and still to this day, like, I do infusions every 6 weeks that they pump me full of a med that helps keep everything at bay. So it's not like I got diagnosed once and then had a surgery and it's all fine and dandy. I deal with it every day of my life.
For sure.
Damn, man.
Is that something like bringing awareness to that? Does that help also with like just people catching the symptoms ahead of time to prevent, worse something bad, like worse happening to you?
So a lot of it for me, what I've noticed is by bringing awareness to it, everyone's like, "Oh wait, I have a family member that had that," or "I know someone that has this," or this and that, and I have people message me and ask me about like what meds I've taken and what I do for like eating wise and what helps my body, and just trying to help people that already have it like manage it and kind of survive with it.
Gotcha. That's cool, man. I mean, yeah, at least like you're doing something for other people. That's like, I think that's really rewarding.
Oh.
Yeah, just to bring any kind of awareness to something that you have experience with is cool. So
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate that.
that's all the questions I got for you, man. And we appreciate, having you on here, and hope to have you on again soon and see you soon. Hopefully this quarantine or this COVID pandemic will be over. It doesn't seem like it's getting better right now though, but
No, it doesn't.
no, hopefully we'll be able to see you race soon and see you in the shop.
Yeah, I know. I gotta give Morgan a call here in the next like month or so. I gotta order a front axle housing for a trail rig that I'm building, and then I gotta order a new rear axle housing for my race car too. So I'll be calling you guys here soon.
Sounds great. Look
Sweet.
forward to hearing from you.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for jumping on here with us. Pretty badass, man, and definitely appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you guys, man. I appreciate you reaching out and wanting me to be a part of the Rough Stuff podcast.
You've just been a great great ambassador for us. Like you said, we've kind of been with you since the beginning, but you've also kind of been, I think you're one of our sponsored racers that's been on our list since day one.
Yeah,
I don't think
pretty much since the beginning.
I don't think I could think of anybody else that's been on a list longer than you, man.
Jimmy Hoyt might be up there with me.
Yeah.
I was gonna say
Yeah,
Jimmy's right there. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's who.
Yeah.
That's how I think Dan.
Another one of the OGs.
That's how I
Yeah.
think he got sponsored. Was he was just doing he's doing one of like the bonus lines or something with like completely broken, and
Just going for it.
Dana was like, "I'll give you anything. Just keep."
Keep doing that same thing.
Yeah.
Dude. Like, he's such a cool dude, Jimmy.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
is.
Yeah.
And always super humble.
yeah. He's the nicest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man.
Right on, well,
Well,
thank you. Get it?
all right, man. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you later.
Yep, sounds good.
Have a good
All right.
one.
Have a good day, Justin. Thanks.
Later.